This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Mabuhay! You're watching the Business Portal, your gateway to business trends and opportunities. And I'm your host, Howell Mabalo.
Good day, everyone. You're watching the Business Portal on the corporate world, your gateway to business trends and opportunities. And I'm your host, Renelyn Tan Castillejos. It's another Friday that you've spent throughout the week, and I'm sure that there's so many activities you've done. The question for us today is, how are you doing with your finances? Today, we'll be talking to a very well-respected financial planner from Film Life. She has helped a lot of Filipinos just really catch up on their finances and become more responsible. So let's all warmly welcome to the show Ms. Isis Huang, licensed financial advisor and unit manager from Film Life. Welcome, Isis.
Hello, Ren. Thank you for having me.
We have a very exciting topic today. It's financial wellness and financial health and wellness.
Yes.
So before everything else, tell us how you got into the financial industry and what you currently do.
Okay, so actually I started as a corporate employee myself. I was a former management trainee for Film Life.
Okay.
And that's how I started my journey. And as an employee, you know, before I really didn't know anything about savings and planning for my investment. But, you know, as I went through my journey as a management trainee, I was deployed in human resources and I was organizing all the employee engagement activities. And after that, I was then moved to recruitment and I was doing recruitment events for our sales people. And that's how I got exposed to what a financial advisor is actually doing. And you know, I was hearing wonderful stories from our successful financial advisors, and I was convinced that I would like to do that someday as well. And so 6 months later, I decided to resign from corporate and actually join the sales force of Film Life.
Interesting story from your end, Isis, because you didn't plan to be a financial advisor.
Yes.
It more or less happened, I think, out of circumstance and your belief in the company.
And actually, I guess, you know, it happened because I was placed in a department where I was actually exposed to what the financial advisors were doing. And I was hearing all their, you know, success stories, not just, of course, financially, but how they were helping a lot of people in the Philippines, of course.
Let's talk about the Philippine situation. A lot of Filipinos today don't really save. And so if that is the case, and we know that we're in a sweet spot, our Philippine economy is doing really well right now. There are a lot of businesses opening up, but there's still a big part of the Philippine population that doesn't save.
Exactly.
So how do we match that? What can you say about that?
Actually, you know, statistics show that only 4% of Filipinos have life insurance.
Just 4%?
Yes, and these include, you know, the companies that actually give them life insurance, so it's not their own. So a lot of people really need, well, it's actually a need, but they don't realize it's a need until they actually need it, right? So that's the irony of things.
Yes.
So it's really planning for the unexpected, but and that's my job as a financial advisor. I need to educate people to plan for the unexpected and teach them how to save. Because, you know, having a life insurance plan is actually having a savings plan. And it's buying something that you don't have now, but when you really need it, then you have it.
So Film Life has really been known for their life insurance products.
Yes, protection products.
Tell us more about how long they've been in the industry.
Yes. So actually, this year, Film Life celebrated its 70th anniversary.
70.
Yes, 70.
Congratulations.
Yes. So it's really a milestone year for us. And you know, Film Life was actually created during the Second World War.
Wow.
And it was really to help Filipinos, you know, rebuild their families, rebuild their dreams, and that's why Film Life was built and created. So it's our mission, you know, our mission vision is really to have a Film Life policy in every Filipino home.
Okay.
And to empower Filipinos to achieve financial security and prosperity.
And I guess a lot of times when people think about finances, they think about savings, depositing it in a bank, seeing
Yeah.
it grow, even though it's very slow growth. But that's a typical way of investments. And for most Filipinos, of course not for all, the others have higher yielding investments. But for the typical Filipino, that's their way of thinking, I am saving. And
Yes.
you mentioned earlier that an insurance plan can also be savings.
Yes.
So maybe for our viewers who are hearing this for the first time, can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, okay. So actually, you know, the typical Filipino savings mentality is income minus expenses equals savings. So whatever is left out of their salary is what they will, you know, set aside, put it in the bank.
Yes.
But for us, we actually teach our clients that income minus savings equals expenses. So you take
Can
out
you
your
repeat that?
savings.
Income
Income minus savings,
savings
equals expenses.
expenses.
So you take out your savings first, and whatever is left in your budget should be, you know, you should just, you know, make it work. Whatever is left out of that, because sometimes we tend to income minus expenses and then there's nothing left, so you actually save
Right.
nothing.
Right. And perhaps you see that in a lot of your clients when you
Yes.
initially talk to them?
Yes. So it's very important to actually know what are their expenses and how much we can actually save. Because sometimes when you ask them, they will tell me, so Isis, what's the minimum of your plan? And I would ask them, it's not about the minimum, but it's actually how much you can save, right?
That's great that you give them a bigger picture of what they need to know, because sometimes you think, okay, maybe this is enough.
Yes.
But then if they don't know how to project into the future how much they really need,
Yes.
then perhaps the amount they're thinking of is not enough
Yes.
for their retirement.
Exactly.
for
That's
their
why
life.
it's very important to actually ask your clients and really probe, you know, how many dependents do they have? Are they the breadwinner? Because if you are the breadwinner, then you have a higher economic value, and then you should have more protection and coverage if you are the breadwinner.
So it depends on what your role is in the family.
Yes.
And that's what you'll recommend to them.
Yes, actually depends on the client's needs and of course what they want, of course. And then we, you know, do an assessment, you know, their financial health check, and then I assess what are their short-term goals, their medium-term goals, and their long-term goals. And then based on that, I actually ask them about their budget, and then I generate a very customized plan for them.
Customized.
Yes.
That's the key word.
Customized.
I think.
Yes.
And so let's give them a few tips, a few practical tips on how the Filipino family can save, because we're talking about financial health and wellness.
Yes.
So what can they do?
So actually, well, the very basic rule that we have is really to diversify. So do not put all your eggs in one basket.
Okay.
Meaning if you have money in the bank, you shouldn't put all your money in the bank.
Okay.
Should actually allocate some for your, of course, life insurance, as I've said, you know, and then allocate some for your more high-risk investments like mutual funds or stocks, and then allocate some to maybe another asset like real estate. So actually, the key there is really to diversify and really have different streams of income.
I like that word, diversify.
Diversify.
Because if anything happens perhaps to one of the institutions where you put your money in, you don't get scared. 'Cause
Exactly.
Everything else will disappear.
Exactly. And you know, in the bank, the insurable amount is only up to 500,000. So it means if the bank closes and you put more than 500,000 of your money, then you will just get 500,000 back.
Which is why there's so much wisdom in your advice that
Yes.
they think of different income streams.
Yes.
How about if they're just starting with savings, they don't have a lot to maybe diversify in the bigger investment pools, what tips can you give starting investors or just maybe a newly graduate who wants to start saving?
Yeah, we actually have several investment plans that can fit anyone's budget, because at the end of the day, what we are proud of is that our products, our plans are very customizable. So if you tell me, Isis, I can only save 2,000 pesos per month, there is a plan for you that can allocate 2,000 pesos per month, and you can actually save and grow your money with that 2,000 pesos per month.
So you're hitting two birds with one stone.
Exactly.
Saving and growing your money.
Yes, and not just that, but actually protection, because it's actually a hybrid. So it has a savings component and it also has a life insurance component. Because at the end of the day, we also need that protection and coverage, even if it's a small portion.
Wow, there's really a lot of products. And in the second segment, we'll be talking about the different types of products. But for now, maybe my last question is, how many plans would you need? Is there just a need for one? As you said, you need to diversify. So do you need to get for all your family members?
Well, my answer would be sky's the limit, because at the end of the day, you cannot really put a price on one's life, right? It's actually priceless. So the more that you have, the better, right? Because it's really for your future and it's really for your family.
I like your outlook. Sky's the limit.
Yes.
And I guess if it's really taking care of yourself, your finances, your family, you want the best for them. And so it's important that they know where they are right now. You said in the financial realm of things in their family, what their role is, if they're the breadwinner or if they're the ones who are being paid for in terms of education, or if they're still children. There are different aspects to it.
Yes.
And I really like what you said, diversify.
Yes.
And so hold your thought. We will talk about the products that you mentioned in the second segment. And to our viewers, please don't change your channel. We'll be right back.